Hey guys, it's Bruce over here. The last part of this series on the T-Berry tune-up. Just using common tools, your ears and your RF meter, and a second CB radio that has sideband capabilities. Okay? We're gonna rip this face off because that's not what we're here for. We're here to find out about the chassis. Now the chassis of this T-Berry, you see this guy? Look familiar? Yeah, just like almost all Cobras of this vintage that use the MB8719. It's just about the same. The Cobra 2000 has a extra pot little can right here because there's another crystal filter, so they have a second adjustment like this one. But really, the Cobra 2000's 148 have the same sideband performance as these guys. These are stable, great radios. I would say the best sideband CBs were made by Uniden. So that's why I'm covering this chassis. I think I've done videos before on the D858, but not on the MB8719. Alright, so we covered about how to first adjust your IF frequencies using these cans. Then we talked about the receiver sensitivity using these cans, right? On the earlier videos we did. Then I went over the TX chain, channel 1, channel 40, right? And now we're going to do the TX offsets. And how they are performed is these three. There's the lower sideband offset, the upper sideband offset, and the AMTX. AMTX isn't that critical. It's probably close enough. It's these two sideband ones that are adjusted with these two capacitors down there. You see those capacitors? Yeah, so we're going to be adjusting those capacitors for a 0 beat when this guy is transmitting to a second radio. So once it gets to a 0 beat, you know it's on frequency. Again, we'll adjust this one for lower sideband, we'll adjust this one for upper sideband. What you have to do is you have to make sure you did the previous steps. You got your first IF on frequency, right? That's 50. 75 is your upper sideband, and 25 is your lower sideband. Hopefully you can see that. And then we're going to use a second radio. This radio is tuned to channel 40, lower sideband, you see that? And I've centered the clarifier on this listening to skip throughout the day, because most of the good users are centered, because you can tell they're on frequency or they're not, right? So you just center up this, and we're going to use this receiver as a 0 beat detector for our TX. Sounds complicated, but not too bad. You got to turn up the volume. There you go. We're going to have channel 40. We're going to do lower sideband, which is here. You can see it's 2.5 offset. And then we're going to plug in the mic. And make sure you have a dummy load or antenna or something on this, because you don't want to blow your finals, right? There should be either a dummy load on the back or hooked up to some other load. Can't just key these guys up without an antenna, right? Okay. Alright, there's where we're at. Got our mic plugged in. I'm going to key it up, and you should hear some echoing feedback. And if it echoes real slow beat, woo, 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 you're at 0 beat. If it's going, you know you're off frequency. Okay, let's try this together. Okay, you hear that? I'll give you an example of 0 beat. So, what we're going to do here is adjust this capacitor here until the 0 beat is perfect. Can you hear that? I got some music, so real small turn adjustments. Here, let me turn that background audio off. Okay, let's try that again. As I tune this in and out, you'll hear the 0 beat change. Oh, got the wrong tool. Let's try the right tool. Okay, here we go. Hear that being out of tune? That's too far. We'll go back to 0 beat. You hear that? That's right where the 0 beat is. It's when the echo, or the, it's really what we're listening to is just the audio, but because it's in tune, you hear that 0 beat. All right, so then what we're going to do, we're going to switch this receiver over to sideband, upper sideband, and we'll do the same thing. All right, change this guy here to upper. You'll see the frequency should go to 7.5. Okay, we'll key it up. Yeah, that's not close at all. So we're going to adjust this guy here, and you'll hear it. You hear that? That's the 0 beat. Let's get some light in here. I'll get it off the 0 beat and back. We'll go back to 0 beat. See, it doesn't take much of a turn. Okay, now this guy is transmitting where it needs to be. It's receiving where it needs to be. This radio should be good to go. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, check, check, check. Audio. You see, we're on frequency. And again, some radios are going to be stock, so you have to make sure that this little guy here, let's see if I can get that in there. This is your TX adjustment if your radio is locked and the clarifier doesn't adjust the TX. This is what adjusts the TX. You have to get that right first. Okay? If you guys got any questions, let me know. This is a good, simple way to tune up a radio that's old. And yeah, this covers all your bases. Get your first IF on frequency using the counter, then tune up the receive sensitivity, little TX balance, and then adjust your TX offsets for sideband for 0 beat. Okay, give me some feedback, guys. A lot of guys can work on their radios, and this is nothing new to them. Some folks just don't like to. They're a little afraid. But if you're on the fence and you just want to get your radio working, especially for sideband, sideband's got to be spot on. Grab a second sideband radio, 0 beat the TX offset at a bare minimum. You can just adjust this one pot if you're stock and your TX is off, and then you'll be back talking skip. Okay? But yeah, it takes a second radio to know. Clear as mud, right? Alright, 73s. This is Bruce. Hope this made sense. We're going to put this radio back together, get that face on there, get it all cleaned up, and we'll see if somebody wants to buy this cool radio. Yeah, don't see many stalkers. 73s.